Please welcome to the stage president of Mathletes, as well as her own self-published magazine, Women with a Y, valedictorian Brandy Clark.
Get off the stage, virgin!
So I guess my first big question is, this cast is amazing. What was it like piecing together that puzzle and getting all these great big names for these smaller roles and just making sure the chemistry was there?
I knew Aubrey Plaza, who plays the main character of Brandy Clark, from UCB Theater in New York. I wrote the script with her in mind. And then we also have Bill Hader in the movie. His character's name was Willie. Big stretch. I clearly had Bill in mind making the movie. And then it was sort of Aubrey and Bill and I and my producer, Jennifer Todd. We just, reached out. It's a low budget indie movie, so we reached out to our friends and people we're fans of. So I have Donald Glover. I knew him from UCB and obviously Community, but I knew him personally from the theater. And then Christopher Mintz-Plasse, Bill was friends with him from Superbad. Aubrey had done Scott Pilgrim, so we got Johnny Simmons from that. And then Aubrey was actually working on a movie with Scott Porter, and they were out karaokeing, and he's really good. He can really sing and all this. And she texted me, it was 2 a.m. She's like, "What about Scott Porter for Rusty Waters?" And I was like, "Jason Street? Yes, please." I'm obsessed with Friday Night Lights, hence Connie Britton, who's I have a crush on. I think everyone, male, female, dogs, everyone has a crush on Connie Britton. She's incredible. The one actress I hadn't worked with was Rachel Bilson, but had been a fan of, and actually none of us knew Rachel, and she kills it and is super, super funny and says some of the dirtiest things and just improvised. Bill and I would get home and we were like, "How funny is Rachel? It's crazy. She's awesome and super sweet and super teeny tiny."
The dialogue and banter back and forth, and you've got such great comedic actors. How free were they to go off script and to create their own lines and really work that?
Well, it's definitely scripted, and a lot of the dialogue, a lot of the slang, it's just the way my friends and I would, talk when we were in high school. I really forced in a no doy. I really wanted to get that in there, and a booyah. And I had the younger cast, they were like, "What does this mean and why would I say?" They were like, "This feels so false." And I was like, "Come to Idaho in the 90s. It'll roll off the tongue." We were low budget. We had to move really fast. Obviously, with a cast like this, you leave time at the end. So we'd sort of get it as scripted and then leave some time at the end to improvise a little bit. It's one thing to write Brandy Clark masturbates and her sister walks in, but it's a totally different thing when she's in this room and there's this great husband pillow, which is the pillow that all teenage girls have one in their room, and you sit on your bed and you study with it, so it keeps you upright. But Aubrey got onto set and was like, "Maggie, look at this pillow." And our Ryan Berg, our production designer, and Cassandra was his set dresser. They're like, it's the husband pillow. And Aubrey was like, and I looked at her and we were like, "I think you have to hump that."
Was it always your intention to place this film in the 90s? Because I felt like that gave it a definite voice, and it allowed a lot of the word usage and a lot of the slang terms to come out that provided a funny moment when in a normal film it probably wouldn't have been as funny.
Yeah, and I do think it's important. It's not parodying the 90s. It's really set, kind of just grounded in that world, and that was important too, that we didn't go too far. It's not like, even though Fresh Prince is such a great show, it's not, and it's not Saved by the Bell. We weren't trying to parody those, that part of the 90s. We were trying to keep it grounded. And it's 1993 Boise, Idaho, which is actually more like 1988 for the rest of the world. But that's the year I graduated high school, and that was, you write what you know, so I was writing that way. I didn't realize that the 90s were period until I met with my line producer, and she kept calling it, it's so hard to budget a movie, and this is an independent and it's an ensemble cast and it's a period piece. And I was like, what? No, it wasn't. And then now I realize, now that it's coming out, it's 20 years ago, and you can't get a Ford Festiva with automatic seatbelts anymore.
One of my favorite parts of the film is the opening credits and the unique and cleverness of providing the names, and just it really sets the tone for the whole movie. It puts you in the place. Did you have a hand in creating that, and how long did it take?
Yes. So the title sequence we did as a pickup, as a reshoot. So again, I keep saying low budget. We were really low budget, and I had an opening scene that a couple days before production we just cut because it was another location and it would have been too expensive. And so I had, we cut the film, and it needed an opening because it didn't really have one. And so I worked with a really cool, again, pulled favors left and right, worked with this awesome title company called Shine, and we settled on this idea of the objects in her bedroom having the credits on it. And what was important was that all of these objects in her room were organic, so it's all practical. It's not effects shots. Everything is like the caboodles with Rachel Bilson, like that is on there. The calculator, with the TI, like the Texas Instruments calculator. All of those things, it's practical. We did, because it is a period, it's set in the 90s, we didn't want it to feel like it was an effect. And that was really fun. We couldn't get like Pearl Jam or Nirvana in the movie. We couldn't afford the songs, but we could show those, like a Pearl Jam poster and the CDs and stuff. The title credit song is Two Live Crew's Me So Horny, and there was something really fun about having such a dirty song play with these really very wholesome objects from a girl's high school room. And I feel like that right there, if someone sees the movie, either they're on board or not from the title sequence. Like either you get it and you're laughing, or you're like, no thank you, like this is not for me. Hey, I'm Maggie Carey. I wrote and directed the to-do list, and you just clicked on the collegemoviereview.com.